We're here. It's time for another beautiful and engaging episode of Tokyo Babel.
Hey, Zevlen.
Can I say a word that to get us stand?
What? What?
Oh, I think it died.
I think he died.
Can I say a word that will get us stand?
No, you can't. You can't say the word no. Please don't. Please don't do that.
What you guys talking about?
Okay, so we're back.
Why not?
No, shut up.
Why not?
I think Raziel already said the word.
She did. Raziel screamed at the top of her lungs as she sprang up into the air, all the while maintaining her sitting position. He went so far as to don a massive Namahage mask and brandish a considerably lengthy cleaver. A fearsome entry, all things considered. Lilith and Sorami both pointed at us. Shit. I had a hard time placing his accent. His voice was entirely too loud, with a murderous glint in his eyes. A fearsome look, all things considered. Ultimately, Kamail, the unlikely head of the Public Moral Committee, forced us to sit through several hours of his lecturing. Gummy! 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 I hastily covered Raziel's mouth with my palm as Kamail eyeballed us with a curious gaze. I threw a bitter look at Lilith and Sorami, both of whom were sitting at the dining table. The moment our eyes met, they turned the other way in a sulky huff. They still appeared to be furious over the fact that I carried Raziel around in a princess hold. No, wait a second. In other words, if I carried them off in a princess hold as well, this entire issue could be resolved. Urged by that conclusion, I began to stand up, only to be met with a dual strike of teacups right into my face. Another sort of pain assailed me then, one different from what the teacups had inflicted upon me. Still massaging my cheeks from that attack, I looked to the side to discover a pouting Raziel pinching me on the side. I ended up earning Kamail's sympathy of all people. Kamail removed his mask, once again becoming the angel we all knew.
Oh my, I don't know why, but I'm seeing Kamail as Tsubasa right now.
Kinda reminds me of his design, yeah.
Yeah, just have to be here.
Raziel and I exhaled aside. Let me just make sure the audio's okay again. I'm sorry about all the audio problems. It's just a constant here. Raziel and I exhaled a sigh of relief as both of us were given permission to stop sitting in one place. Oh my god!
We already got our feet, you know?
Raziel collapsed onto the floor, her legs having gone entirely too numb. For the record, I had no such problems. I'm gonna tell you what this is, Mapo Tofu. This is fucking beautiful. This is wonderful. This is perfection. I turned toward the astonished Raziel, explaining that I had been able to avoid the same fate as her by forcing my veins to pump blood into my legs.
Don't you dare to come with a fin, Mapo. It's more than that.
Yeah, control your statement there, young man. Because this is all that I could ever hope for. It was all made possible through the power of nanomachines. As I declared that, Raziel glared at me with a gaze that could kill.
You would understand, Mapo. You would understand.
天使ならこれくらいは朝飯前とばかり。仕方ない。足を借りるよ。
I promptly grabbed hold of Raziel's thumb, then pulled on it with all my strength, ignoring the creaking noises it made. What the fuck is wrong with you, man? It didn't take long until her blood flow returned to normal. Raziel moved her legs around a bit, looking at them in sheer amazement.
治った。
それはよかった。
ずるいけど、ありが
I uttered a quick "you are welcome" in response, then turned my attention back to Kamail.
話続けてよかですか。
There was a certain timidity in his tone that I couldn't quite explain. Either way, I did want him to continue.
申請が通った。第二階層、秋葉原への巡礼を許可する。
Okay.
Oh, it's a red herring.
The moment the words left Kamail's lips, a palpable wave of tension washed across the room.
おお。
On the other hand, it may have just been my imagination as Lilith jumped forward with her fist casually thrust into the air.
そちらのレポートは閲覧した。第2から第4階層までにアブディエルが存在するのは間違いないんだな。
多分。あくまで多分ね。支配者同士が殺し合っていつの間にか消えている可能性もゼロではないでしょうし。
Nonetheless, we would need to operate with the assumption that Abdiel was alive just to be on the safe side.
アブディエルか。
Kamail wore a mask of contempt, mingling with nostalgia as he uttered the words.
憎んでいるのか。
Kamail considered my question for a moment, his face contorting into a stern frown.
わからん。あの男はこう、なんというか。わかり。
そりゃあんたみたいな体育会系まっしぐらな天使じゃ気が合わないだろうね。
あいつは文系とも折り合いがつかなかった。
それ以前に天使に文系と体育会系ってあるんだ。
This new piece of information left Sotomi utterly perplexed.
ところで、アブディエルの武装で何か特徴的なものはある？
どうだったかな。少なくともルシファーの部隊から抜けてきた時は単なる一兵卒だったからな。
Not too bad, not too
長剣と
bad.
盾くらいしかなかったぞ。
反乱を起こした時は？
どうだったかな。すまない。俺が反乱を受け持ったわけではないんだ。ただ聞いた話では取り立てて名剣などの類は持っていなかったはずだ。
He could have wielded a nameless weapon, but we had no way of knowing its power.
なんかそっちの方がある意味やね。
Maybe
霊
something
馬
like
隊みたいに分かりやすい方がいいん
the
だ
Sword
け
of
ど
the Seven Seas?
敵味方に自身が扱う武器の情報を伝えないというのは一兵卒の鉄則だからな。これが指揮官クラスになると話は違うが。
That made sense. A commander would need to wield a famed holy blade lest he cease to be a commander. Yet for Abdiel, who fought at the front lines, revealing his weapon's true nature would only spell his doom.
彼の元同僚ならば何か知っているんじゃないか。
ルシファー子飼いの部隊は彼を探すために東京バベル街に向かった。キリ、姿が消えちゃったしね。
そういえばそうだったな。
Kamail's shoulder slumped forward.
レゾンデートルはわかるはずないか。
裏切り者の存在するべき理由などわからんよ。いや、裏切ってなくともアブディエルは本当に分かりにくいやつだったけどな。
まあサンキュー。とりあえずあさってあたりに出発することにするわ。
分かった。頼むからお前が支配者に並んでくれよ。
おう、天使から応援されるとは。天使と悪魔に横たわる断絶が埋まる日も近かったりするのかしら。
Kamail shook his head, meeting Lilith's enthusiasms with a brief "enough of your jokes."
いや、お前が壊れると絶対に間違いなくタチが悪いから。強い弱いとかそういうレベルじゃなくてなんか嫌。
ああ、タチ悪そう。なんか嫌というのにも同意。よくわからないけど、多分きっとタチが悪い。
ノーコメント。
Lilith gave each of us a knock of the head.
なぜ私も。
連帯責任よ、連帯責任。というかノーコメントって 実は何も言ってないというより言うまでもないって感じよね。
I couldn't exactly deny that because I couldn't exactly deny that I had something along those lines in my mind. Lilith also let us know that they would only be observers, neither stopping nor aiding Sorami on her pilgrimage. I let out a sigh. Her life was in my hands, hands that once failed to protect 10 billion lives. Yet what astonished me even more was Sorami's response.
そっか。まあ確かにそれは仕方ないよね。頑張ろう。
The discussion ended before it had even a chance to start. Her declaration left Lilith and Raziel dumbfounded, both of whom went on to repeatedly remind her of the journey's dangers.
というわけで、セツナが勝たなければあなたは死ぬ可能性が極めて高いんだけど。もうリリス、その話3回目だって分かってるよ。現状では敵が誰かすら完全につかめてないし、セツナは必殺技を獲得してないし、秋葉原がどんな風になっているか分かってないから、とにもかくにも死ぬ、殺される、くたばる、やられる、そんな感じでしょ。そうよ。非常に思う。
That's so strange since Sorami being so mature.
Right.
I don't know. it just feel like I was seeing a child just a few seconds ago, and right now she's showing some adult side of her. And consider all the situation she was put in, you know. Maybe I know she got out of information needed from Lilith, Raziel, and Tatuna, and from the issue.
Right.
But even so, it's kind of strange to see her getting everything so smoothly, so well.
But I mean, you know,
out or showing some signs of despair or something. I don't know.
I feel like maybe it's because she's already lost everything, right? She knows her life was a lie and everybody she knew is gone. So I mean, it's not like death is the worst thing that could happen to her at this point.
It can be it, but I feel like there is two different persons. Maybe it's because of the information and she already processed it. Everyone can get it different.
I mean, so far she hasn't
way.
feared doing anything for the cause. I mean, she's gone out and talked to Miyako, who was involved with this whole business. So I feel like it's always been there, her diligence. It's just like she tries not to dwell too much on it.
Okay. Even so, it feels a little bit off. I think you get it.
Yeah. Sotomi shook her head, surprised Lilith would even ask something like that. She seemed genuine about it.
死ぬのは嫌だけど、まああくまで可能性だし、それにセツナが死んで自分が生きているってのもなんだかなって気分だから。後味が悪い？
Sotomi cocked her head to the side.
そういうのじゃなくて、こうなんというか、そう、当たり前の話じゃないかって思うのよ。
全然当たり前じゃないと思う。君は私たちと違ってその
普通じゃないわよ。それまあ戦えば死ぬけど。
だったら
私が役に立つんでしょ。
Sotomi glared at me, her eyes flashing gold for a heartbeat.
役に立つから行く。行ったら死ぬかもしれない。そうならないように頑張る。セツナが頑張ってくれる。
Her words rang with more than just a mere trust, but I couldn't explain what it was myself. I barely knew anything about her. In fact, the same could possibly be said about Sotomi herself. I can, however, give her my promise, a vow to do the best for her sake, no matter the means. However, I was neither complete nor perfect.
君を死なせはしないと言いたいけど、死ぬ確率は間違いなくある。おまけに高いか低いか、戦ってみないとわからないなんて状況だ。
Even so, if, despite all that, you still don't mind having me at your side?
構わない。私は私の全人生と全生命を 刹那に預けるよ。
That was all it took. Her response came instantly without hesitation. There was no anguish nor zealous conviction in her eyes, only stalwart determination.
本当に何者なんだか。
Lilith shook her head, her tone weary with resignation. Suddenly flashed a smile, as if embarrassed by her own speech. Once Sodomy was fast asleep, me, Lilith, and Raziel made our way to the rooftop, just the three of us.
面白いわね。人間の人生って。
It was entirely too clear that she had meant sodomy.
人生が面白いんじゃなくて、くぐち空見という人間が面白いのだと思う。
それには同意するけど。
まあ、敗北できない戦いになったということでいいんじゃないかしら。
I cast my gaze upwards to behold the blinking stars. Speaking of which, I couldn't discern any constellations. I assumed these weren't the same stars one would see from Earth.
星は天使が適当に振りまいたただの光に過ぎないから。確定しているのは月くらい。
In other words, it was a fake, makeshift sky.
何もかも偽物なのよね。ここは。まあ、それが割と好きなんだけど。
The campus, its students, teachers, and the entire cityscape, all fake. A realm of endless uncertainties where one needed a clear identity to survive. I silently extended my hand, reaching out towards the skies above, and in this purgatory of lies, the largest imitation, the biggest imposter, had to be me. I was human, but not quite. Someone tremendously close to humanity, yet tragically far removed from it at the same time. For a brief moment, I recalled the past that had turned me into such a man.
私はそろそろ行くわね。ラジエルはもう少しここにいる。そう。
Smiling, Lilith leapt off the rooftop. What was I to do? If I returned to our room, all I could do was wait for the morning to come. The problem instead was Raziel. If I left her alone up here, she could end up dozing off.
ラジエル、いつまでここにいる気？
飽きるまで。
She would only fall asleep before that happened. Yet she simply gazed upon the night sky, showing not the slightest intention of leaving.
空に何かあるのか？
何も。バカな天使に任せたせいでデタラメな配置になった星があるだけ。確かに星空というどうでもいい現象なんて適当に再現するだけでいいというのは理屈に通っているけど。
それくらいなら怒られないんじゃないか？
Raziel nodded. The moment she lifted her arm, the stars gently began to shift in their positions.
8477は3451へ。31415は20へ。一応日本から見た空にしておこう。
Every time Raziel moved her hands, the stars changed positions, their movements reminding me of shooting stars.
綺麗。
Raziel halted her movements and appeared slightly agitated. She turned to me and inquiring in a timid tone.
それは星がということ？
それ以外に何かあるだろうか？
Damn. I appear to have become the target for indiscriminate violence quite frequently as of late.
よし。
You got some nerves.
The sky had indeed transformed into that of Japan. Still, it was not the same.
オリオン座と夏の大三角、ペガサス座まで見えるんだけど。
バリエーション豊かな方がいいと思う。
Show off. Might have been better to keep them in proper order. Kamal was furious once he found out, but that was another matter entirely. Raziel began nodding off, gradually switching to sleep mode. Indeed, this was neither the time nor the place. Just as I was about to wake her up, I would have preferred to avoid another commotion like last time and head back to the night duty room. Raziel's eyes shot open in a fraction of a second.
誰？
I too had become aware of the presence shortly after Raziel. Maybe Samael came back. Oh, Eve.
私です。
Her words came as a whisper, her slender form blending into the night. Eve, the young woman following Adam around.
イブ。
Raziel's expression had shifted to one of bewilderment. Adam appeared to not be with her this time. Eve the first, no, the second woman created.
どうしたの？
Raziel appeared to have already met Eve before. If I remember correctly, she once lent the original Adam her book.
セファーラジエルは見つかったのですか？まだ。
Eve knit her brows, expression concerned.
そうだったのですか。やはり地上に置き去りにしてしまったのでしょうか。つまり本は。
It was gone for good. Before Eve could even finish that thought, Raziel quickly interjected.
いいや、本は東京バベルにある。確信があるのですか？ある。あの本を完全に失ったら私にはわかる。人が親しいものを失った時、どこにいても奇妙な喪失感を抱くように。そうですか。聞きたいことはそれだけ？ええ、実は思い出話に花を咲かせたいのです。
A nervous smile followed. Raziel looked at Eve confused.
どうして？その思い出がどうも曖昧になっているみたいで、こうして周囲の皆様にお聞きして回っているのです。曖昧に？ええ、戦闘記録が膨大すぎたせいでしょうか。過去の記憶がどうも夢うつつのようで。戦闘記録？私がアダムの設計者たちに引き渡したもの？はい、その通りです。
Raziel's expression grew stern with suspicion.
あれはてっきりアダムに取り込まれるものだとばかり思っていたが、それでは容量が足りません。アダムは戦闘に特化していますが、それ以外のものは切り捨てられましたので。
切り捨てられたとはどの程度だ？
Eve's expression clouded over at my abrupt question.
例えば彼は感情表現をギリギリまで切り捨てています。喜怒哀楽は必要ないどころか害悪になりそうでしたので。壊れるのを防ぐため？はい、何事にも心を動かされず、何事にも公平であるために。そうでなくては巡礼は不可能でしょうし。でも果たしてそれは人間と言えるのだろうか。
Eve responded to Raziel's misgiving with a calm, straightforward answer.
言えます。誰が何と言おうとも、あの人は、アダムは。
The long silence was ultimately broken by Raziel.
そう。
君たちも巡礼を始めるのだろうか？
ええ、ちょうどあなた方と同じく2日後に開始します。別に競争というわけではありませんが、頑張りましょう。わかった。あなたたちを守護する天使と悪魔は？アスタロトとカマエルは？無理か。監視者はおりません。私とアダム2人です。不要と言った方が正しいかもしれませんが、油断はしないで。支配者は皆どんな圧倒的戦力差もひっくり返す。アダムとてそれは同じです。
Eve appeared to have unyielding faith in Adam's prowess. Then again, he was meant to be the crowning achievement of the angel's labors. He must have been, beyond a shadow of a doubt, immensely powerful.
分かっている。だけど
As long as the masters command their raison d'etre, one must never let their guards down. A gentle smile crept onto Eve's lips as she shook her head in response.
アダムは無敵です。そのことをお伝えしたかったのです。天道刹那様に。
Whatever it was that had been accumulating within my head up till that point, it now sprang to the surface.
無敵な存在など。
それは今までの話です。少なくとも天道様に勝ち目はないかと。
元より戦う気はないが。
そうだったのですか？私が見たあなたの瞳は とても殺したがっているように見えましたが。
For a heartbeat, I was left speechless. I recalled what I had felt at the time, a fierce torrent of emotions that may or may not have been animosity and contempt. I had only met him once and therefore had no reason to detest him, let alone fight him. I was loath to call him a friend, yet we were in the same boat, sharing a common goal. Despite all that, though, I somehow
それは気のせいだ。
answered calmly, forcefully washing my mind clear of the memory, ignoring it like one would pesky gum on the back of your shoe.
そうなのですか。それならば良いのですが。
私とアダムは協力すべき立ち位置だ。困ったことがあれば何でも。
Eve smiled, thanking me.
私とリリスも協力する。その代わり到達すべき場所を見つけたら教えてほしい。もちろんです。それでは失礼いたします。
Raziel watched her exit the rooftop with a curious expression. Upon reaching the fence, however, Eve turned around once again.
そうそう、ラジエル。あなたの本、もし私たちが発見したらご連絡いたします。
Eve took off, leaving only the two of us on the rooftop. Raziel had been acting strange for a while now, visibly bothered by something.
どうしたの？
イブはあんな感じだったかなって。昔はもっと違っていた気がする。
と言われても、私は過去の彼女を知らないのだが。
I took hold of Raziel's hands, still very much unsettled by what had just happened, and the two of us returned to our room. Eve only sighed as a viciously cold chill rushed up her spine, displaying not a hint of surprise.
あれ
Oh fuck, there she
驚くか
is.
と思ったのに。
Oh my god.
のにのにのに。驚いています。ただ、毎回唐突なので慣れてしまいました。
A nervous smile sat upon her lips.
まあいいや。アダムは寝てる？ええ、ぐっすりお休みですわ。そっか。彼にはバリバリ働いてもらわないといけないよね。にゃはは。そうですわね。それで彼はどうだった？イブの見解を聞いてみたいな。無害です。アダムに対して異常な敵外心を持っているようですが、現状敵対することはないでしょうし。
So they're planning together.
何よりアダムには勝てそうもありません。
Not good.
そう？私は結構あの人間を買っているんだけど。レアだからでしょ。ま、そういうことになるのかな。彼はあらゆる平行世界のあらゆる人間の想像を絶する体験をした存在だからね。思わぬ広いものをしたとは姉様の言葉で
Her
した。
sister? Who would that possibly be? I have no clue.
そんなことも言っていたかな。いずれにせよ、彼は
Who said her sister?
自分がなぜ
Eve did.
存在するのか
Oh,
という問いかけに
why?
答えていません。第二階層のアブディエルを打ち倒すことが可能かどうか。
Wait, was Adam a woman?
What? What?
No. I was just thinking. She mentioned her sister,
Yes.
and I was thinking about the only person Eve had such blood relationship with. The only thing that comes to my mind is Adam. You know?
Well, I don't know. Maybe it's Tokyo Babel exclusive lore. I am completely unaware of who it could be.
Could it be Lilith?
No, couldn't be. They're not related to each other. I mean,
I don't know
I guess
if it's-
they are, because God created Lilith from the same clay as Adam. So she would be kind of a half sister, because Eve and Adam are essentially the same person, right? They were created from each other, or Eve was created from Adam specifically. But I think that's a bit of a stretch. I don't know. I guess we'll see.
私 私には少々答えにくい問いですね。とはいえ、ある程度は許容範囲だと思います。
神の試練ってやつだね。
そうですね。神の試練という。
Eve watched in silence as Samael left, softly giggling to herself. I definitely don't like that they're collaborating with each other, though. The only objects in Adam and Eve's room were a set of beds and a table, surrounded by white walls, lifeless and empty. The place existed only for the purpose of sleeping, without as much as a book or two to satisfy one's thirst for knowledge and its solitude. Yet Adam felt such a state of affairs to be all but natural, for he was stripped of emotion and found no use for books that would serve little purpose to him. He had no need for recreation, nor anything to possess. Similarly, he did not feel the need to decorate his walls with pictures he never found beautiful in the first place. Although we know that he was reading manga, so I don't know about that. Adam sat up as Eve entered the room, having been alerted to her presence.
どこに行っていた？
少し散歩です。
Adam's nostrils twitched ever so slightly.
誰かと会っていたか？
はい。以前お世話になったラジエルと天道刹那が屋上にいましたので雑談を。
So maybe Adam isn't in on the Samael connection.
ラジエルはわかるが、天道刹那というと、ああ、少し前に会ったあの男か。
Adam struck his palm as he recalled the name, eliciting a brief giggle from Eve.
ええ、すれ違ったあの男です。
ラジエルはなぜあの男と？
彼の守護天使になったのでしょう。あ、そうそう。あのグループも第二階層に出立予定のようです。
彼らも？天道刹那は第二階層を踏破できるだけの力があるのか？
Adam observed the young man upon their meeting and indeed found nothing objectionable about his physical prowess. However, he lacked a soul to drive him. He lacked a raison d'être.
第一階層でゲテルを打ち倒したのは知っている。だが、彼女は所詮中級第5位だ。
Hardly meant a thing. Those with a loose grip on their own reason for being could never hope to emerge victorious here at Tokyo Babel. Eve nodded in agreement.
私もアダムに賛成です。第二階層を踏破できるだけの力があるとは思っておりません。
Lilith had extremely high hopes for Tendo Setsuna, so there you go. They do mean Lilith there. She thinks of him with joy, anticipation, and sadness alike.
俺には納得できんが。
Adam displayed an unusually rare interest in Tendo Setsuna, yet Eve felt that was only natural. She decided to voice an idea she had just come upon.
そうですね。それではかけてみませんか？
賭け？
彼が存在理由を見出さないまま第二階層の支配者を倒せば私の勝ち。
Adam looked at the giggling Eve with a touch of hesitation in his eyes.
神は賭けを好んだだろうか。
この程度ならばお許しになるでしょう。
Adam finally nodded in consent.
では、賭けよう。何？
The question left Eve herself puzzled. What indeed would they bet?
困りましたわね。
Money was out of the question, not that it would have held any meaning at this point. A treasured item would have been a better choice, yet they weren't in possession of anything that could be wagered.
そうだな。今慌てて考えたところでどうしようもない。
焦る必要ありませんものね。
Adam nodded. Eve met it with a smile, filling her heart with a touch of warmth. And we're off, I think. Finally leaving this goddamn place. 2 days later.
リュックサックよし、コンパスよし、地図よし、おやつよしっと。コンパスも地図も必要ないわよ。
Did you hate
ま
this
あ
place?
まあ、気分気分。
I don't hate this place at all. I just want to see what happens next, you know? Time to explore a little bit. Dungeon crawling. Let's go, bro.
Let's go to the second stretch.
We had made all the necessary preparations before embarking to Akihabara, the second stratum. But that said, all I really needed were 9 packs of high concentration liquid nutrients in case I was in need of energy.
おーい刹那や悪空間の接続確認してちょうだいな。
了解した。
The Picati sword would only be in the way on my waist or back, so we ended up storing it in a pocket dimension. After concentrating magical energy onto my palm, I thrust my hand into the empty air, and once I grabbed hold of the handle, I pulled and...
おお、手品みたい。
Damn, we got the archer superpowers here, guys. The archer slash other archer.
Yeah. That's her throat. Then we'll know if she is an archer.
The sword of the 7 deadly sins was right there in my hands.
よしよし、コツは分かったみたいね。慣れれば意識せずとも取り出すことができるようになるから。
What is the power of that sword again?
It can... effectively, it curses people, and then it can also summon creatures related to each of the sins.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Although it cannot curse angels. They did say that.
It cannot. Oh, okay. Is that immune too? Yes.
What?
Is Setsuna immune too, just by curiosity?
I think so.
Oh, okay.
I was content to do it like this for the time being. As I shot a glance in Sotomi's direction, I saw her stuff a great many things into her borrowed backpack. Lilith was carefully applying her makeup. She said something about natural beauty, but I didn't feel that this had anything to do with our journey. And Raziel was busy leafing through a guidebook about Akihabara, no doubt with the intention of picking up a few books. I wasn't quite certain if this fake Akihabara had a proper inventory just like the original. More importantly, though, what was she thinking looking for books in there?
大丈夫。秋葉原には面白い本がいっぱいあると聞いた。
観光に行くわけじゃないんだけど。
秋葉原って言ったら人間がコスプレして練り歩いている街なんでしょ？確か。大いなる誤解があると思います。
Sotomi thrust her hand into the air to interject, and the three of them promptly lunged into a lively argument as I watched the chaos unfold, sighing to myself. Would this trip really go well? In any event, we set out toward the front gates. Despite its name, though, no students would ever walk through them on their way to or from school. Pandora had an entirely different gate that would lead to the numerous strata of Tokyo Babel.
見張り役は本来天使のはずなのだけど、まあ天使も数が少なくなってしまったし。
Raziel glanced upon the nearby bulletin board.
当番表によると、今日はベリアルね。
To think someone as powerful as him was on guard duty, the angels and demons must have seriously been low on people. Lilith's face abruptly contorted in pain.
よし、明日にしましょう。痛い。
A hand reached out from the nearby pocket dimension, clutching Lilith's shoulder.
いい度胸してるじゃねえか、このケバ臭いババ女。
どこがケバ臭いのよ。ナチュラルメイクだっつーの。めちゃくちゃ自然でケバっぽいところなんてどこにもないっつーの。
Lilith exploded in uncontrolled rage.
存在がケバ臭い。
ベリアル、そこら辺にしておいて。
おっとラジエルじゃないか。相変わらずその PC に
Oh my
DM をぶち込んでるな。
Fujoshi.
してないったらしてない。
Yep. Raziel flushed redder than the ripe apple.
ラジエルさん、あなたまだそんなもの。
The two girls drew back a few steps, felt the need to come forward and ask.
ラジエル。BL って何だ？
Setsuna, please don't. Setsuna, please don't. The expression never existed in my world. Good.
It's
visible.
BL ってのはな。
Raziel swiftly covered my ears, blocking out about 90% of external sounds. What was I to do? Maybe I was better off not learning about this? Yet my curiosity would not subside. I amplified my hearing, intent on learning whatever it was that BL thing entailed from Belial's explanation.
ま、説明よりも前にまずは画像を見てみないとな。
What the fuck?
Oh no.
And then...
刹那が
Where's the picture?
今まで見せたことのなかった超ドン引きの表情を
I'm
見
kind of
せて
sad right now.
I'm kind of sad, yeah. I was hoping they'd show it.
ああ、セツナが大人の階段を登っ
They
て
gave
しま
us
った。
hope.
そしてリリスさんなんかラジエルさんが号泣する一歩手前なんですが、
普段は無表情なくせにこういう時だけ感情表現豊かよね。でもあえて助けず事の成り行きを見守る私。
Oh my god.
大丈夫、怖くない、怖くない。
She wriggled her finger around in the air. She was trying to imitate a flying snake with it or something?
火薬庫でタバコ吸ってる気分ってか、天使たちの前で聖書をちり紙代わりに使ってる気分というか。
Are you using paste? Oh.
Belial, who served as the catalyst for all this, was leaning against a wall a short distance away. His broad smile was clear evidence that he was immensely enjoying this.
ラジエル、
何？
大丈夫。私は人。天使の趣味を知ったからといって迫害したりはしない。
ありがとう。
I went on, never once pulling my gaze away from the image displayed on her tablet. Oh god.
ところで、この男性はどうしてお前がいけないんだと思って襲いかかっているんだろう。
Oh
悪い
no.
のは襲っている側だと思うのだけど。
His fellow man.
So
He's
still
just.
お月様が見ているというセリフは何なのだろう。月を生物的に捉えているということだろう。
Oh god.
それから漫画の日付だと新月なのになぜ月が満ちているのだろう。別世界というやつだろうか。
Raziel's gonna die, guys. It's over. I think.
娘に向け
I
て
think she had.
お父
She
さん
had
を
a
僕
stroke
にください
right
と
now.
目指している。それはいいんだが、
Whoa! What kind of kinky shit is this? He wants to fuck his girlfriend's dad? What? What?
It's getting better.
Oh my god, dude.
あと愛し合う。つまりこれをあれして何するには色々準備が必要なので、具体的にはワセリンとか。
She's gonna die, Setsuna. Raziel coughed up a part of her soul and promptly collapsed.
ちょっとこのダメ天使、旅立ってもいないのに殉職しかけてるよ。ねえ。
Well, we have now killed Raziel, so we're short one person.
大丈夫。趣味は人も天使も
I
そ
think
れ
it
ぞ
would be
れ。
okay if
人に迷
Raziel
惑をかけなけれ
said
ば
it was just
責
a
めるべきでは
bromance.
ない。
Of course.
I think.
The dude was just friendly. He just wanted to play video games with his fiance's
Yeah,
father. You
with
know?
that after this girl, you know.
Right, of course. Of course.
He just wants to get a little bit more intimate. I should stop.
Raziel was already back on her feet, her expression clear and refreshed, and her words not so much.
人間が見たらがっかりするんだろうな。
Thank you.
And now she was down on the ground again at record speed.
ベリーある、その辺にしておかないと巡礼が開始できないのよ。はい、サイン。
あいよ。ああ、これが最後の会話になるだなんて。
旅の始まりから不吉なフラグっぽいセリフを言わないでください、熊本先生。
生きて帰ったら俺の授業を受けさせてやるぜ。
私、戻ったらまた熊本先生の授業を受けたいな。
ってどう考えても死亡フラグじゃないですか。
戻ってきたら俺と結
What
婚
the
しよう。
fuck, bro? He was piling on those death flags like nobody's business.
やだやめて、この加齢臭のくせに。
君、世界でもトップクラスの魔王にすんごく失礼なこと言ってるからね。
Yes. Sonomi was landing a series of light punches on Belial's chest. I felt on edge the entire time I watched them talk, yet Belial himself did not seem insulted at all. It seemed like demon lords weren't the ones to be angered by every little thing. Who would have
あ
thought?
あ、いいさ。それじゃあ今から第二階層の扉を開く。ついてきな。
Oh. We all stood before the gate, about 100 meters tall and forged of white stone. Sonomi gazed up at it in awe, craning her neck at a painful-looking angle.
もうなんちゅうか物理法則とかないよね。
She was right. We would easily have seen a gate this large from the campus.
ファンタジーだからね、この世界は。
Lilith shrugged. Fantasy or not, the laws of physics were being completely disregarded, that much was true. Belial handed us a golden and silver key, tiny enough that no one would assume they would have opened a gate like this.
天道刹那、不屈空見、街を巡りて神の印を覚え、そして支配者を打ち倒せ。己の
As both of us nodded, Belial retreated a step. We approached the stone gate, discovered the 2 open keyholes, each small in size, and after managed to figure out which key fit into which hole, Sorami and I proceeded to insert them at the same time. The door began to creak open. It sounded the thundering bellow of the earth. Beyond the gate awaited us a space white and pure.
さて、それじゃあ行ってみますか。秋葉原。
こらこら待ちなさいってば。あれあれ。もう。
Sorami dashed forward with Lilith giving chase from behind. Raziel and I elected to walk. Never change, Raziel. I meant to ask if she was thinking of BL books, but I stopped myself as soon as I realized it would only lead to a repeat performance of what transpired a short while back.
Hey, Zevlen, let me make a quick question for you.
Yeah.
What is this again? It's important, but it's because I forgot. But what is this? The big importance of Raziel book?
Well, Raziel's this book in specific, she handed over to Adam, as she mentions often. She wrote the book. The book is a compilation of things she wrote down, standing guard next to God's throne, so she would listen to all the things God had to say and wrote all of them down. In IRL, the book that is often called the Sefer Raziel HaMalach is a compilation of both highly technical, esoteric knowledge, though unsystematic, as well as a bunch of magic stuff, demonology, theurgy, all kinds of weird things, divination, etc. But I mean, in the setting, in myth, it is a compilation of all of the most important distilled, pure knowledge springing forth from the fountain of truth itself. As such, it's a pretty big deal.
Oh, okay. Then, okay, that makes sense. Since the angels are being heading to the way of knowledge, at least in talk Babel.
Right.
The angels look like they seek for knowledge.
Right. So,
okay.
Akihabara.
Thank you.
No problem. The second stratum had a master of its own, transforming the landscape to match Sad Master's character. A fallen warrior who rebelled against angels and demons alike.
クロウ・ミヤコとの会話とアブディエル本人の逸話から類推はできる。
After a few moments of thinking, I spoke up.
彼女は人と触れるのを極度に嫌悪していた。
そう。そしてアブディエルは天使とも悪魔とも決別した。ただ決別しただけではなく、自身の存在をかけて戦おうとした。
A relentless and thorough rejection of physical contact.
つまり、二人が作り出した世界は拒絶する世界に他ならない。
We left the white light behind, stepping into a darkness thick enough to prevent us from orienting ourselves. Thankfully, we had something to follow. A faint light. The voices of Sorami and Lilith echoed from its general direction.
ちょっと、扉見つけたわよ。早く早く。刹那がいないと開けられないみたい。
It appeared this new gate would require a key to be opened too. We hurried onwards, chasing after their voices through the darkness of the passage. Though the darkness of the passageway shrouded my vision, tracing my fingers along the stone's surface allowed me to analyze and identify it as a massive obsidian gate, not entirely unlike the white one we had just left behind. Light seeped in through the keyhole, making it easier to locate. Sorami and I were once again inserted our keys simultaneously. This time, the gate slid open without as much as a peep.
Oh.
Sotomi took in her devastated surroundings with an uneasy glance. We were in a world ruled by Kuro Miyako and Abdiel, a realm embodying the concept of rejection.
空見気をつけなさい。転んだらまずそうよ。
Yorokobe Shonen.
Indeed. We beheld a city of spikes, its sharp instruments covering roads, buildings, and trees alike as far as the eye could see. Spikes to keep out intruders, rejecting all. The skies wore the bright orange of dusk, with all its clouds hanging still and unmoving. Time had halted. I speculated the phenomenon to be a form of time manipulation on Abdiel's part, a manifestation of his rejection of both angels and demons, lights and darkness.
お嫌どころじゃない。
Raziel hung her head dejectedly while Sotomi inspected the nearby streets with binoculars, mouthing a few surprised wows and woes in the process.
秋葉も変わったね。
It sure was quite an understatement. Lilith, wearing a serious expression, let her finger slide along a nearby spike, eventually picking it up. The moment she did, though, it shattered like a piece of fragile glass. Its tiny splinters injured her hand, making a few droplets of blood gush forth.
リリス大丈夫？ん？
ああ、これね。ちょっと痛いかな。
Sotomi wasted no time in pulling out a set of bandages from her backpack to treat Lilith's hand.
はい、これでよし。
ありがとう。
Lilith averted her gaze in embarrassment. She could have easily closed up a wound of that caliber in less than a minute. In fact, her bleeding may already have stopped. She must have been simply grateful for the gesture alone. Meanwhile, Raziel was stubbornly loitering around a nearby bookstore's entrance. I wish she would just give up on this already. With that in mind, I gave her shoulder a light tap. We were meant to move forward, not get bogged down at a place like this. Man, this Left 4 Dead 2 map is crazy. We also needed to figure out how these spikes came to be. As we set out, I decided to take Sotomi's hand just to be on the safe side. This would allow me to react faster should anything occur. Sotomi shot a sheepish look my way, unable to comprehend my actions.
いざという時に君がそばにいないと困る。
She was the only person I needed to protect out here.
いや、ちょっと、
何か
Blushing, Sotomi glanced back and forth between my face and our locked hands.
握られてる。
握っているからね。
What of it? I kept on walking, pulling her by the hand.
初々しいカップルやね。背景に気を配らなければ。
Raziel is not okay with that.
Raziel will remember this. The other two glared at us with much interest and seemingly a hint of malice.
なんで？ってああ、そうか。私を守るとか、そういう感じ？
Because of what Raziel said before.
Sotomi, initially resistant, slowly calmed her fidgeting.
そういう感じ。
It backfired.
離れていたらいざという時にコンマ数秒反応が遅れそうだし。
Sotomi nodded in acceptance, then stole a quick glance behind her back, flashing a broad smile.
はいはい、了解。思う存分守ってくださいな。
Sotomi finished off with a polite bow, which I returned in kind. My reaction surprised her, though it took only a second for her to be all smiles again. And with that out of the way, we pressed onwards. Akihabara was devoid of life as far as the eye could see, its streets ruled only by hordes of inanimate objects, possibly as a reflection of the district's former emphasis on electronic goods and entertainment. Not a living soul lingered here, only objects ever unmoving without external help, yet even if they did move, there would be a little point to them here. Mountains of electric appliances and goods, all protected or ravaged by tower spikes. A melancholic sight. Sotomi, endowed with Gattel's eyes, finally noticed something.
刹那、なんか針がおかしい。
I didn't even feel the need to ask her to elaborate. The spikes began to squirm and wiggle.
空見、しゃがんで。
Wiggle?
こう。
The moment she did as told, spikes came flying from all possible directions. Rejection. The city recognized every intruder as a foreign element. Its master would not be at ease until all such elements had been completely skewered and eliminated. My senses of sight, hearing, touch, and smell all coordinated to perceive the incoming bolts, analyzing and calculating their trajectory, speed, angle, form, and order of impact. I needed to prioritize Sotomi, then Raziel and Lilith. Finally, myself. I deflected the first medium-sized spike to reach me, making it crash into the next impending bolt, then the next one creating a long chain reaction. I kept calculating and calculating, never once stopping, repelling all incoming projectiles. The spikes were all made of metal, making their surfaces, save for the pointed tip, glassy and smooth enough to lessen my workload. This way, I merely needed to focus my attention on not letting their tips hit me. The incessant drizzle of spikes gradually let up, allowing silence to once again reclaim the premises.
もう大丈夫かな。
Sotomi timidly rose back to her feet and upon seeing me nod, proceeded to dust off the grime from her skirt and legs. Naturally, plenty of spikes still litter the area, but they no longer appeared to reject us. In other words, this attack was akin to a warning of sorts. It will soon shift to alertness, which will in turn evolve into full frontal retaliation. The real battle had yet to come.
リリス、ラジエル、人の気配はあるか？
ないわね。ない。
None. With Gatel, I was able to locate her right away. One only needed to follow the long trail of bloody, tormented corpses. This place, on the other hand, was completely devoid of light, as if to stand as a constant reminder of the city's adamant rejection.
さて、どうする？このままぶらついてみる？
I mean, there must be something that they can do to call forward or to bait Abdiel, right?
本を探すというのもありな気がする。
誰が己の願望を口に
Maybe
しろっ
there
て言っ
is
た？
a hiding city, you know,
Right.
a hiding community. Maybe the subway is something like it. Like Havara has subways.
Right. Not trains.
Yeah.
Lilith swiftly karate chopped Raziel on the head, eliciting a perfectly synced sigh from myself and Sotomi. Those two would never lend a helping hand regardless of the severity of the situation. How was I to proceed then?
まあでもぶらつくというのは正解かも。私の目が正解を教えてくれると思うし。
Oh, that's true. I forgot about it.
今、どんな風に見える？
現時点では特に見えるものはないけどね。ただ慣れてきたからいろいろなノイズをシャットアウトすれば感じ取れるものがあるかも。
そうか。お願いする。空に。
In all honesty, my eyes couldn't detect a thing. The city must have rejected the very act of perceiving.
おお、頼られた。頑張るよ。
Sotomi then turned to look in all directions, carefully observing her surroundings. I kept my grip on her hand firm while kicking all stones and spikes near our feet out of the way, thus ensuring her safety. After a thorough observation of her surroundings, she appears to have detected something.
おお、今となっては懐かしいメイド喫茶。
Oh my
やっ
god.
ぱり秋葉原だよね。
Very useful observation, Sotomi.
そこに誰かいるのかい？
いえ、誰も。
Hey now.
誰もいないけど何かあるかも。
There's a Maid.
Really?
興味深いわね。
本はある？
I doubted it.
Books.
てなわけで刹那。
Sotomi pointed a finger at me with such enthusiasm that I could almost hear a sound effect accompanying it.
メイド喫茶に行ってみませんか？お願い。
Was that a request or an order? Still, I had no reason to stop her. It would be one thing if she wanted to venture straight into a demon's lair, but this place seems safe enough at least.
わかった。じゃあ、行ってみようか。
や
I
った
think
ぜ。
I got the picture of Mapo right now. Yeah.
検索。
Yeah.
図解メイドさん。
Raziel ran a quick search of her tablet PC. Wait, she could still connect to the net? If so, where would it be connecting to? And with that, and a host of other concerns, still lingering in my mind, I cleaned up the spikes in front of the Maid Café and somehow ended up leading the three girls inside.
いやー、予想通り店内は綺麗なものだね。
空見、キョロキョロしないで。目当てのものにまっしぐらよ。
ということは、
お互い業が深いものよね。
Lilith and Sotomi were getting along frighteningly well. Placing their arms around each other's shoulders, the two girls merrily trotted off toward the back. Raziel and I, having found a seat for myself next to the window, watched with a hint of tension as they vanished deep into the store.
はいはい、ラジエルさん、1名様ご案内。何言ってぎゅうぎゅう。
She covered Raziel's mouth and swiftly carried her off against her will, just like that. Realizing I had no control over the situation, I decided to direct my gaze at the scenery outside. The nightmarish town pockmarked by myriad spikes evoked the concept of the so-called Hedgehog's dilemma in my mind. They did it! It's one of the cliches, Hedgehog's dilemma. We all we need is Schrodinger's cat. Everybody look out for Schrodinger's cat. That's the number one top most used cliche in visual novel fiction of all time. A means to keep just enough distance so as to not be mutually hurt. Would she have evaded this fate in such a case? Would Abdiel have made a different choice?
考えても無駄か
I exhaled a sigh. It was too late for them to change their views and ideologies. I harbored no illusions about being able to convince them either. It felt completely and utterly meaningless. After all, she had already come this far enough to give birth to her very own world, driven by a conviction that her way was perfect and absolute. This world of spikes had become her realm, belonging only to her. Unless we conquered it, it would never fade. Yet such an action in turn, would result in her death as well. The streets still showed no signs of life, speaking of which, Adam was meant to come this way as well. I wondered whether we were simply too far apart, or if I was perhaps unable to detect his presence. I hoped for the former. My thoughts were interrupted by a tap on my shoulder. Sorami and the others appeared to have finished exploring the building. I was just about to suggest moving on when...
おかえりなさいませ。ご主人様。
Sorami, wearing a maid outfit she no doubt found in the store, was flashing an unmistakably 0 yen smile in my direction.
カマエル様、どうなさいました？
He feels it. He knows.
I'm going.
なぜか知ら
I
んが
have to go.
急にずっこけ悪魔と天使の頭をグリグリしたいという気持ちに駆られた
Oh my
お
god.
疲れなんですね。
その慈愛に満ちた瞳をやめろ
天使に慈愛をやめろなんて、そんな無茶な。
どうしたベリアル？
目当ての本でも見つかったか？
いや、なぜかわからんが、急にリリスのことを思い出した。
あまり急に思い出したくなる存在ではない。
あいつ今、秋葉原にいるんだよ。第二階層。
新宿と並ぶまがい、秋葉原か。嫌な予感がするのは。
するだろう。俺もする。あのネタに生きる女
She
は必ず
definitely
何か
is.
やらかすと。
我々は軍隊ゆえにその性癖がいまいち理解できないね。天道せ
それは間違いない
Belial and the Dentalians nodded in firm agreement.
な。しかし、ラジエルのメイド服には興味があります。
What the fuck? Why does he know?
否定はしない。
Why did it come to this? For the first time in my life, I was met with a scene so astounding it left me thoroughly dumbfounded.
おかえりなさいませ。
Oh my
お
god.
かえりなさい。お兄
How did it end up?
She said Oni-chan. She said it. She said it. Wait, let me
She
play this
said
line
it.
again.
おかえりなさい。お兄ちゃん。
I'm gonna kill myself. It's over. It's over. It's over. It's over, boys.
Oh, it's over. I feel. Okay.
It's over.
I could end my life right here. I can't.
A quick
I
high
have you here,
five.
right?
I was starting to get a headache.
念のために聞いておくと何をやっているんだろうか
It's not just the two of them, bro.
メイドキスごっこ。いや、別に夢というほどじゃないけど、やっぱり一度くらいは体験してみたかったんだよね。この
Sotomi and Lilith both spun around
ご
enthusiastically.
主人様、ご主人様、殺人ですか？
Oh
殺
my
戮です
god.
か？虐殺ですか？ケーキですか？ジュースですか？ビールですか？
全部いりません
What the fuck? There's a mother in soft drinks. Okay.
In fact, could you all please change back?
ってあれ？ラジエルは？3人で歌ってダンスしようと思ったのに、
What the
アニメ
fuck?
のエンディングっぽく。
My mind was internally screaming no at everything around me.
着替えは渡したけど来ないわね。
My mind is screaming. Yes.
Yes, 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 yes,
よ
yes.
し来た。
Sonomi and Lilith, both strangely lively for some reason, once again disappeared into the back. They appeared to be having the time of their lives. I sighed, once again shifting my gaze to look out the window. What is the meaning of this? I didn't ask for this.
I think I gotta get the meaning of life right now.
Oh my
If you didn't
god.
have a race of the tree right now.
Holy shit, they're huge! Oh my god, man.
You're a fine woman.
Raziel appeared to be
Yes.
fiercely resisting whatever was happening to her. What? Excuse me?
No, nothing. You can keep reading.
Driven by a sense of unease, I decided to check up on the girls. I'm sure it does. That's better. That's great. Oh yeah, that's what I'm talking about, baby!
Yes! You got it.
Raziel appeared to have
fuck you,
finished
Raziel.
changing. She emerged from the back with an uneasy steps as the other two kept urging her on. Raziel had changed into a maid outfit, or rather was forced to change into one. Still, compared to the other two, she was certainly a touch taller with notably more feminine curves. She took a few unsteady steps in my direction while struggling to keep her short skirt and tight-fitting clothes in check. Yes! Yes!
It's so fucking beautiful, but Raziel is so scary.
Raziel is dying. Her voice came out faint as a whisper.
ラジエル君まで遊びに付き合う必要はないと思う
Shut the fuck up, Setsuna. No one cares.
遊びじゃないよ戯れね人生にはこういう協力がないといけないわ
I agree.
ああ私悪魔だから悪性
I doubted there was much of a difference between the two, though.
I think they should put a maid outfit on Sex and the City.
They should. They really should.
どう
How does it look, Raziel? Raziel stole a few nervous glances at me.
どうって何
Raziel hesitantly averted her gaze, clearly at a loss for words. Lilith stepped forward and gave her shoulder a hearty pat.
似合うとか似合わないとかそういうのよ
Ah, so that's what she'd meant. I proceeded to carefully analyze her garment. Shut the fuck up. Just say it looks
機
good.
能的ではなく戦場的ですらあり体を締め付ける気持ちよさよりも不快感が勝っているようだ総合的に考えて
I'm gonna kill
似合
Setsuna.
わない
Holy shit.
I'm gonna kill Setsuna.
Holy
It's
shit,
over.
how dense is Setsuna?
I'm gonna kill
What
him.
the fuck?
It's over. It's over. No, it's over. Fuck him. Fuck him. Fuck him. He's getting shot. I voiced my honest opinion. She's gonna cry. Fuck. In the moment I did, the very air of the room seemed to have frosted over.
ラジエルあのねセツナはね空気が読めないタイプでね
Oh, she's
似合ってるって二人とも言ってたのに嘘つかれた嘘をつかれた
Fuck. Her body began to
I feel
tremble.
sorry.
やっぱ爆発寸前ですよこの子
Raziel was on the verge of tears. The other two girls, in the meantime, glared at me with gazes that screamed murder. The following is a transcription of her communication through eye contact alone. Geez, get a clue. How? What am I supposed to do? Tell her a kind word or two. Flatter her. Flatter? She wasn't making things any easier for me, yet her orders were absolute, and personally speaking, I did feel somewhat guilty as I listened to Raziel's desperate sobs. Flattery, huh? I assumed I was meant to compliment her. Either way, I decided to simply state the truth. Fuck! Don't do that, please! Shut the fuck up!
結論から言うと私は普段の制服姿のラジエルの方
I'm gonna
が
kill
好きだと
myself.
考える
It's done.
Oh my god, what
It's
is
done.
the problem say? Holy shit.
I'm gonna die.
I don't wanna read like a
What is wrong with you?
Man. Fuck. Shit. And just like that, her tears stopped. Following a brief silence, Raziel began flailing her arms around in a complete state of panic.
好き
What?
ああ
Huh?
ラジエルも色恋先には向い
Can you go back
I think Raziel just did a dumb. I think she completely misunderstood what we just said. What we just said. I think this was a complete zero brain moment.
Okay, I think that makes sense.
人間の美少女に魅了されたアザゼルのせいでほとんどの天使は清純派であることを求められるからね。ああ、ちなみに私は清純派悪魔。
清純派セクシーアイドル並みにうさんくさいよねそれ。だいたい伝説を紐解くとリリスってバツイチじゃん。
違うよ。伝説ではそうでも戸籍は汚れてないもん。
あるのかよ戸籍。
I elected to ignore their argument in the background and instead turned back to Raziel, who was on the verge of a complete mental breakdown. I first needed to find a way to calm her.
ラジエル。
あ、はい。私も本が好きです。
No one asked though.
とにかく制服に早く着替えた方がいい。
あ、そうだね。わかった。
With a series of hasty movements, she promptly began unfastening the button that sir. Whoa there, lady! Whoa there, lady!
まあでも少女で人妻とか考えたら燃える人はいっぱいいるから。
What the fuck is she doing? What the fuck is she doing, bro?
だから私は。
Look at Lilith's face, bro. Oh my fucking god. Sodomy and Lilith looked our way like they just saved a ghost. Needless to say, I was staring at Raziel too, mouth completely agape. She began unbuttoning her shirt one by one.
Yeah, Raziel, wait.
Removed her. Whoa, brother.
Raziel.
She threw her blouse off with a determined move.
Raziel! Stop! Stop! 落ち着いて頭冷やして着替えは奥で。
大丈夫冷静私は落ち着いている。とりあえずゼーナになればこの場は問題
Oh
な
my
い。
fucking god, man.
問題終わりだ。
I nodded in agreement. In any case, I closed my eyes in an attempt to flee from reality by shutting out all visual stimuli. Actually, considering the situation, that may not have been the wisest of things to do either.
ソラミ、このバカテンション即刻引ったて。あいあいさ、お代官様。
They really should have made up their minds whether they wanted to do a period drama or a military scene. Additionally, the correct usage was aye ma'am in this case. Anyhow, the two of them dragged Raziel, who, by the way, was still vehemently trying to rid herself of clothing, to the back of the store.
His markers was a correction of a. Oh, okay.
Don't. Listen, Raziel is not the only befuddled one here. I am at a loss for words. Raziel looked befuddled. Lilith completely exhausted, and for Sodomy, the same as above.
大変だったみたいだね。
They sure have,
You're
buddy.
so wrong.
The moment I said that, all three of them looked at me with somewhat critical, somewhat perplexed gaze.
まあ、退屈せずに済んだことは確かね。
Thank you,
念の
Lilith.
ため
You're
メ
a
イド
real
服も持
one.
ってきたし。
Well, I already know what I'm gonna do. That was plain robbery.
大丈夫よ。ちゃんと服分のお金は置いてきた。
Thank you, Lilith. You're a real one. Lilith's stone was rife with confidence. Currency held little to no meaning here at Tokyo Babel, but the act must have at least helped alleviate her guilt. On the other hand, I couldn't help but think it odd that a demon would have a guilty conscience at all. Sodomy fidgeted while casting a few nervous looks at her surroundings.
どうしたの？
なんか妙なの。
I mean, I would say there are many weird things concerning this entire setup. But, you know, Sodomy seemed on the verge of panic. What could she have seen with those eyes of hers?
空に落ち着いて。
Sodomy's concerned features hardened, almost as if she had just spotted something. She then spoke up, balling her trembling hands into fists.
これは敵意だ。
Oh shit. Hostility.
敵意が空気を汚染してる。もうそこまで来ている。
みたいね。
Lilith's expression soured in an instant. Raziel too got her act together and began preparing for combat. As for me, I'd already brandished my sword. Every last corner of Akihabara was being corrupted, just as Sorami had stated.
リリス、影を展開してほ。オッケー。
One broad swing of Lilith's arm caused her shadow, already stretching long in the afternoon sun, to extend even further.
探知くらいはしてあげるわ。アクティブソナーだから向こうにも感づかれるけど。
塔の昔に感づかれてるみたいだけどね。説が実戦だよ。大丈夫？
I'd already participated in one battle against Gatel, but the overwhelming pressure I felt now made that past clash seem like a practice run by comparison. My nanomachine synthesized a dose of sedatives to be circulated all throughout my body, and with that, the pressure on my shoulders dissipated and my once hazy vision once again cleared up. I nodded at Raziel and told her to stand back. Last time I acted as a foreign element in Gatel's world. This time we were aggressive intruders. In this round acted as Kuro Miyako's body, I was the virus intent on wreaking havoc within it. And she herself materialized as the white blood cells to purge every last trace of that virus. There we go. As I turned to the right, an angel swooped down at tremendous speed, tearing into my arm. Her familiar face must have momentarily caught me off guard. After ravaging my arm, the angel once again rose high into the skies and latched onto the side of a building. Her voice echoed across the streets like violent thunder. She roared at us, her features contorted by madness, an overwhelming contrast to her Pandora-dwelling self. Not a trace of white adorned her wings, instead it was covered in steel spikes from top to bottom, evoking the image of a scaled mechanical reptile. Raziel's voice behind me was fraught with despair. I gave her a silent nod. Kuro Miyako had resolved herself to do battle here, her tone rife with fury and anger, her soul tormented by insatiable hunger and crippling thirst alike. In other words, she was beyond help. For a heartbeat, I imagined what it would be like if Sorami or I ended up like that, then discarded the thought as swiftly as it came to me. My only priority right now was to eliminate the foe standing before me. My body had already switched to combat mode, with Sorami being the only target I needed to protect. With that said, commencing battle with her so close would have been unfavorable. The solution felt evident. I needed to move far enough so that Sorami would be in no danger of being assaulted by Kuro Miyako. I brandished my steel, facing the shrieking Kuro up on the wall. Lilith and Raziel had already taught me how to make use of the sword's power. There we go. Azure fire collided about the blade, propelling bullet-like wisps of flame toward Kuro Miyako as I pointed the sword at her. Although my own magical capacity left much to be desired, the sword itself contained a plentiful supply of it, resulting in a considerably powerful attack. Kuro took to flight as I sent a barrage of azure flames at her, coloring the sky itself blue. I leapt into the air, dashing up the building's wall. Kuro's wings shot numerous steel projectiles my way, almost as if to compensate for my previous attack. Quickening my pace, I gained ample distance from the other three and arrived at the rooftop. From there, I plunged into the skies again. After blanketing the entire building with a barrage of spikes, Kuro turned her full attention to me. Her voice now rang with ripe antagonism. I dashed forward, slipping past her torrent of spikes. Making it out of the windstorm dry and unscathed would have been a simple task, and so I brandished my steel the umbrella to shield me from the storm. The blade in my right hand, thunder in my left. Molten gold sprang into form, catching the incoming spikes head on. Kuro retreated backwards, eyes widened in surprise. Augmenting my legs' insulation and cooling, I leapt atop the gold to chase her, every step spewing sizzling white smoke during my advance. Take this! Wings and blade crashed, the former shielding itself from certain destruction through a veil of myriad spikes. I held my ground before she could knock me back. If I pulled away from her, she would only be sent 1,000 spikes my way, their relentless assault like the rapid fire of a Gatling gun. Being at such close proximity to Kudo allowed me to analyze and comprehend her power. Even if her wings fired hundreds upon hundreds of spikes my way, she could keep regrowing them one after the other like a shark would lose its teeth. In other words, the farther back I escaped, the harsher this battle would become. While individual spikes posed no threat on their own, in great enough numbers they would eventually wear me down. Even with my state-of-the-art regenerative capabilities, I would find it difficult to recuperate from such a relentless onslaught. However, this distance would work in my favor, for it allowed me to pick up on the sounds of the spikes. Every time her wings ejected one, they made a faint tearing sound. Exactly which spike would come flying at me was something I could easily predict at such a close range. Yet one problem still remained. Every time my sword clashed with her wings, a thunderous echo, both pleasant and unsettling at the same time, would resound in the air. Her 6 wings launched attack after attack with skill far surpassing that of an average combatant, using only their 2 hands. One such attack grazed at my left shoulder, and as I cursed my luck, a series of consecutive slashes crashed into me. Fresh blood blossomed in crimson as she slashed from my arteries open, her spikes piercing my heart. Her words of rejection boomed triumphant in the air, her myriad spikes tearing deep into my body, or so went the illusion I had conjured up. I quietly circled behind her back, latching onto her wings from behind. The illusion created through the power of lust revealed its false nature and vanished into nothingness upon being attacked. Needless to say, my illusion was by no means as powerful as Lilith's, yet in a battle such as ours, where swift decision-making and a constant awareness of one's foe were both vital, it served its purpose with flying colors. I had but one objective to focus on from this angle, these steel wings of her, all 6 of them. My breathing evened out as I held my steel aloft with the precision of a master swordsman. And steel flashed, and in a fraction of a second, her wings were no more. Paying no heed to her resistance, I tore off each wing one by one using both my hands and my sword. This is some God of War shit. God damn.
君のものではない。これアブディエルの翼だ。違う！
The slow, sickening sound of flesh being torn resounded in the air as her wound left behind a bright red trail of fresh blood. I did find the act somewhat repulsive, but at the moment incapacitating her eclipsed any such unpleasantries. With every new wing plucked, Kudo cried in agony, begging me not to rob her of any more. Her pleas fell on deaf ears. I continued my terrible work, purging my heart of all empathy. One more wing remained. At this rate, she would not be able to fly anymore. Oh shit, is the noble phantasm about to activate? We got a theme! The moment her words left her lips, the very air around us turned frigid. Quite literally, my entire body began to freeze over. I attempted to gain some distance, but found my hand glued tight to her wing, which had frozen stiff due to the sudden drop in temperature. In a split-second decision, I decided to sever my own hand and kicked myself away from Kudo. Once I did, the temperature in the vicinity began to rise, sending a fresh stream of blood to gush forth from my stump. I commenced a regenerative procedure through the power of nanomachine Sukuna Hikona. The whole process would take about 5 minutes. Although my right hand would remain completely useless during that time interval, a far greater threat was also looming on the horizon. An abrupt wave of noise washed over my mind. I could hear Lilith whispering into my ear. No, I had no answer to that question. Lilith claimed that she would use me as an expendable asset, and I willingly consented to that. I came here for that purpose alone. There was nothing more to it, or so I thought.
あなたはそれで納得しているの。
I was. I should have been.
でもあなたはレゾネートで思い出したのね。どうして本当に納得している？
Being expendable, a disposable asset. Had I truly accepted that?
言い出しなさい。
Lilith cut out telepathic communication. Kudo's whisper of a voice had evolved from mere words to a powerful incantation, birthing further changes in the world.
人類はいらない。動物はいらない。植物はいらない。ロボットもいらない。自分一人の力だけで動く何かなんていらない。
Her words were the hymn to the curse the world at large, a poem to reject all creation.
服従するべきすべてに反逆し、反逆するべきすべてに反逆し、共に戦う仲間すべてに反逆し、私は拒絶する。
Her one remaining wing grew in size, generating a sizable magnetic field. A moment later, I found myself forcefully hurled backwards, crashing through the windows of a building. That was hardly the end of it, though, as the magnetic field did not subside. I crashed through 4 more buildings and ended up literally embedded in a wall. I did not utter a word. I had already stopped feeling pain, otherwise I might have very well screamed in anguish. I began to think, what the hell had just happened? What made me crash through 4 entire buildings? The answer was all too evident. This was Kuro Miyako's raison d'être given form, the power of rejection. 6 wings or 1, it hardly mattered. They would carry out her function all the same. In fact, Abdiel himself possessed but a single pair. Yet that very same angel in his ordinariness ended up stirring the flames of a tremendous conflict that swept across heaven and hell alike. Kuro Miyako, who devoured him, would similarly rebel against all existence in a stubborn adherence to her concept of rejection. The wing stood as a symbol of that. It grew to an immense height. Upon comparing it to Kudo's own body, I estimated to be about 6 meters. Kudo herself fell prostrate onto the ground as her wing towered to the heavens above, clad in myriad steel spikes. Each and every spike came equipped with a wide variety of defensive techniques. Their defensive capabilities went beyond merely inducing a magnetic field. The spikes would provide protection through a variety of means, from the occult to the gravitational. It was the perfect protective barrier, dispelling and rejecting all that it encountered, vying only for solitude, to stand and to continue to exist alone and in isolation. Such was the path Abdiel and consequently Kuro Miyako had chosen. Equality was the fundamental rule that governed her world. However, beneath such an official statement, in the shadows there were still lurked those betrodden, bereaved, even of a single chance to give voice to their sorry state, and Kuro Miyako was one such person. There was no particular reason behind her cursed fate, the sacrifice selected with no bias and completely at random by a computerized identification system supervising family registers. That was Kuro Miyako, nothing more and nothing less. She was scorned by words and violently downtrodden. She suffered attempts at murder for no particular reason. She lived on stripped of all her dignity as a human being. No one would touch her. No one would care for her. She would suffer violence on a daily basis, kicked off the roadside with no more thought than one flicks aside a pebble. The world writhed under a coating of filth and grime. She would believe in no god, no angels, no demons, for the very act of clinging to a higher being filled her with disgust. And so when Abdiel descended from the skies to embrace her, she resisted fiercely. Even upon learning of the terrible danger threatening the whole of the world, she remained unmoved. All she cared for was to lead a school life without suffering, to have something to eat each day. Those were days of constant, unchanging bliss. At times, certain students would leave the classroom never to return, yet not a soul paid any heed to it. Despite all that, she felt at peace. She had no friends to call her own, only a horse that acted as such, a gift from Abdiel. Unlike all of her other angels, he would never once urge her to act. One day you will embark upon your pilgrimage. I simply have that feeling. Kuro Miyako rode her horse across the athletics field, dismissing such notions as ridiculous. Yet one day she came to realization that this world was far more fragile than them, which in turn stood as all the more reason to treasure it. Her horse was no exception either. The animal she nicknamed Abd came to mean the world to her. She had an amiable nature to begin with. No matter how much scorn, pain, and abuse she had to endure, love would still blossom within the depths of her heart. She simply had one to shower with that affection. She had no one to shower with that affection. The moment she gained being like that, her desire to protect the world grew fierce and resolute.
巡礼に向かうことにした。
Abdiel's lips broadened to a cheery smile. The somewhat jovial angel, who nonetheless had no one to call a true friend, managed to pique her interest. She met people who had succumbed to madness just from traversing the first stratum, yet she still fought them, just as she had been taught to. Abdiel protected her, his steel, though no holy blade, was polished to perfection after fighting countless battles. Its terrible swings devastated all maddening foes that dared to stand in the girl's way. The two of them eventually toppled the third stratum, inevitably reaching the fourth. By this point in their journey, the young girl had grown pale and weary. Her unhappiness was born of but one critical issue. She was, despite belonging to the elected few, but a simple, mortal woman. Even as she fought to overcome all that the cruelty of fate made her endure, at the end of the day she was only human. Waves upon waves of incessant chorus reverberated across her mind. Be happy, be blessed, be soothed, live in peace, praise the Lord. And concerned for her well-being, Abdiel rushed to Kuro's side. She, on the other hand, knew that there existed only one way that could free her from this torment. To paint an example, she lived in a state where her arms and legs were both being pulled at simultaneously. Both desperately urged her to come to their respective side. This resulted in pain intensive enough to make her feel like she was on the verge of being torn apart. So what was she to do? How could she rid herself of this agonizing pain? The answer was clear. Her legs were pulled on by humanity, her arms by the angels, in which case she merely needed to ascend to a position close to that of an angel. She grabbed firm hold of Abdiel's shoulder, meeting his confusion with a smile. Her mouth gaped open, and although he comprehended what was about to happen, the sheer purity of her intentions left him paralyzed. Gnash, crunch, gnash, crunch, gulp, gnash, crunch, gnash. Abdiel did not resist. He could not. He simply allowed himself to be devoured, his expression reflecting profound sorrow. He mouthed an apology to the Lord and to Lucifer, and so, as he began to pray, the realization struck him swift as lightning. He lived as Abdiel, the angel who trusted no one and walked a solitary road. Who would he pray to in his hour? Yaldabaoth, the false god, the one true god, who Abdiel had yet to lay eyes upon, or the same being? He had no answer. And with that, Abdiel perished, a bitter smile coloring his final moments. Kuro Miyako descended back onto the second stratum to be reborn as its master. A handful of humans and angels would reach her domain from time to time. If they failed to heed her warning, she would obliterate them without mercy. Memories of her past life at Pandora soon faded into obscurity, washed clean by the crimson of carnage and bloodshed. Yet through all that chaos, one thing still remained vividly clear in her mind. Abd, the horse she loved more than anyone else in the world. She wondered how he was doing. Abdiel reassured her that the spirit double would take good care of the animal, but that person was not her. Not truly. Those who embark upon a journey could often find solace knowing there was someone waiting for them back home. Such knowledge would pour strength into their weary bones, granting them the will to survive, to press on. Yet Kuro Miyako was different from the rest. She grew vehemently attached to those she left behind. Knowing she might never meet them again filled her with despair. No angel, no demon could peer into a mortal's heart to discern its complexities. And so Kuro Miyako was reborn as Akihabara's master, refusing to let anyone stand in her way, as she herself vowed to stay infinitely out of reach, wielding the power granted to her in order to reject and defy the world at large.
私は私の世界で完結する。そして天国に行く。誰
An ode to extol solitude, a poem to sing isolation's bliss. That was all she ever wished for. Yet here they stood intent on opposing her. They who will tear her solitude to shreds, who would tarnish its beauty. She would never forgive them. Her hatred burned like hellfire. And so she would stand her ground, fangs and spikes bared, her protective shell swelling even larger. The intruder stood up, casting a composed look at my way, his gaze frigid to the point of being unsettling. I would kill him, destroy him, make it so that he never even existed in the first place. Kuro Miyako's bloodlust flared like a raging tornado as she unleashed her gravitational energy. Moments after I stood up, I felt my body wrenched from the inside as something repeatedly smashed me into the walls and the floor. The sheer confusion I felt eclipsed the pain. I needed to gain some distance fast. The invisible force, unseen by the naked eye, kept its ferocious assault. It was most likely the gravitational energy interfering with all things in my surroundings, including the insides of my body. I could feel every gravity vector of my body on a millimeter scale forcefully change direction. Both of my legs, my knee, and my calf were each being pulled in completely different directions. My muscles were unresponsive to all commands, preventing me from fleeing. My blood flow changed direction. My nanomachines refused to function, rendering my healing capabilities useless. Dogs, cats, eating together, total anarchy. The minuscule change in gravitational energy left my head a pounding, dizzy mess, robbing my brain of its supply of oxygen, even as I labored to consciously inhale air. She would defeat me here, utterly and thoroughly. I lacked even the strength to form a coherent thought. That was the first obstacle I needed to overcome. And yet I felt my dizziness amplified tenfold. The pain was near unbearable. I could feel my gastric juices crawling back up my throat. My inability to properly regulate my body temperature sent a harsh chill down my spine. In the meantime, my headache refused to subside, assailing me with pain so intense I felt myself on the verge of clawing out my own eyes from their very sockets. I was going to die here. I would perish like a dog reduced to dust, swiftly, mercilessly.
あなた自分を特別視しすぎてない
Oh shit. A voice rang in my ears, one I recognized as familiar. Its echo rang with malice and beauty alike, a memory I wished to both forget and embrace.
愚かねあなたは刹那に生きるもの確かにあなたは特別でも特別だけならいくらでもいるもうすぐきっとあなたは特別な存在となるけれどそれだけは忘れちゃいけない切な切な切な私は可愛い愛しいにっこりせず愛しているわ本当
A once faded memory swam to the surface of my mind again, faintly jolting my brain awake. Defeat was not an option. No matter the odds, I would defeat Kuro Miyako and ensure Sotomi's safety. Lilith's orders were absolute, and I needed to do everything in my power to accomplish the task she had given me. My life no longer belonged to me. I directed all my remaining strength to amplify my combat prowess. Do it! You just do it! Stand and fight and kill. Protect her. I rebuilt the thought process of my mind, forcefully activating a region that normally lay dormant, rearranging it as data blocks. The haze once blanketing my mind dispersed in a matter of seconds. I began simultaneous calculations and analysis almost immediately afterwards. I rose to my feet and took a step forward, all the while being conscious of the haphazard changes in my entire body's gravity vector. My mind was awash with calculations, leaving no room for fear. Detecting the shift in gravity, I promptly administered a change to its vector, effectively ridding myself of the pain and disorientation. In order to resist the changing gravitational conditions, I accelerated my blood flow and heart rate, circulating blood to every last corner of my body. I leapt forward and took to the skies. Brandishing the sword of the 7 deadly sins, I willed the beast of gluttony into existence. Waves of gravitational interference lashed out at the beast, rejecting its very existence alongside the rest of the world. The monstrosity raged and bellowed before finally plummeting toward the ground below, having crumbled under Kudo's merciless onslaught. But thanks to that, I saw through her timing. The gravitational waves traveled slow, probably even slower than sound. I fixed my eyes on the tip of her spike. A slight tremble ran across it. Now! I could dodge it. Immediately plummeting downward, I somehow managed to evade her invisible gravitational waves. Man, I don't know what the fuck is happening. I latched onto the shocked Kudo, having finally caught up to her, and then proceeded to take a firm hold of her wing with both hands. Paying no heed to Kudo's terror, I began tearing off her remaining wing, ignoring both the gravitational waves as well as the numerous spikes piercing my body. I tore off her wing without a shred of mercy or hint of compassion. Kudo's cry was rife with anguish as she fell. She had lost all her wings and with them the ability to induce gravitational interference and reject outsiders. She brandished her sword in one final attempt to make a difference, but it was all but futile. With perfect composure and self-control, I pulled my Picati sword from its pocket dimension and buried its blade deep into her stomach. The moment Kudo spat up a fresh mouthful of blood, I, oddly enough, felt my body loosen up and relax. The gravitational conditions of the area had finally returned to normal. She broke down in tears. Whether it was the pain, the dawning realization of defeat, some other emotion that ravaged her heart in that moment, I could not tell. Nor did I feel the need to. I lifted the sword of the 7 deadly sins, placing its blade next to her neck. Despite my reflexive attempt at guarding the incoming attack, her fierce kick, fueled by pure raging hatred, sent me flying a good 10 meters, possibly even more. I managed to stop myself just short of the building's edge. Kuro Miyako was still very much overflowing with bloodlust and hostility, a fact that immediately made me regret underestimating her capabilities. She spoke in a low voice, her tone brimming with hatred. The unnamed sword she held in her right hand boasted of a blade tinted with the crimson blood. Its darkened hue no doubt standing testament to the numerous battles its steel had granted Abdiel victory. Her blade would take my head long before I would have the chance to summon any other of the Picati beasts. In other words, her fates here would be sealed through sheer fencing skill alone. I took a lungful of air, holding it in. Just when I thought she would lunge forward, Kudo instead launched a horizontal slash aimed at my neck. Despite my reaction being a heartbeat slower than it should have been, her slash proved slow enough for me to easily deflect with my Picati sword. However, that alone would not slow her down. With our swords still locked together, she pressed ever onward, intent on letting her steel bite into my neck. Centimeter by centimeter, her blade edged ever closer to my face, driven by Kudo's inhuman strength. Even in such a state, I found myself at an overwhelming disadvantage. Slowly but surely, I began to yield to her relentless pressure. Smacking my lips, I launched a kick toward the side of her head. Owing to its point-blank range, the kick itself was lacking in power, yet it could still work to hold her back. As I landed a clean hit on her temple, Kudo groaned in anguish, her grip on the blade loosening. For a moment, I considered putting some distance between us, but soon discarded the thought. It would only end up as a repeat of what had occurred a short while back. Instead, I purposefully relaxed my strength while shifting my body to the side, allowing her nameless blade to graze my side. Kudo collapsed forward, exposing the white of her slender neck. Seeing it, I lifted my blade to strike. And remembered the way she rode Abd that day. To think I would recall such a memory now of all times. Discarding my sword, I instead opted to deliver a strike to her nape with the side of my palm. A groan followed, then she fell unconscious to the ground. I scooped up her blade from the ground, throwing it far into the distance, then with wavering steps carried Kudo back to the other girls. Guess you didn't have the heart to kill her. The wound in her stomach may have been severe, though not lethal. If left like this, she could easily regenerate through Abdiel's power. I placed Kudo onto the ground, allowing both Lilith and Raziel to take a good look at her. The former's expression reflected clear discontent, the latter bewilderment. Lilith, breathing a weary sigh, put a quick stop to Sotomi's line of thinking. She's crazy. She would just find a way.
Yeah. Unfortunately, she is already broken.
Yeah, she's probably suffering to hell and back too. I mean, all the trauma from losing everything.
Yeah, she was a slave. She was massacred during her life, and after she couldn't even be with Abdiel.
Right.
She's cute though.
So true, bestie.
これまでだってこうして壊れた存在を生きたまま回収できたことはあったわ。天使も悪魔もそれから人間もね。
Lilith's gaze was ice, yet I couldn't help but feel like she was struggling to maintain her composure.
どうなったの？みんな死んだわ。すべての能力を封じても喜びながら頭を壁に打ちつけ笑いながら舌を噛み穏やかに微笑みながら呼吸を止めた。
Once madness took over one's mind, they were finished. They would attempt to reach heaven by quenching their insatiable lust for death. To those claimed by insanity, heaven meant everything. Reaching its gates stood as their utmost goal. A master would erect a solitary heaven of their own making, existing only for them. They most likely believed that their actions would inevitably lead them to heaven.
何を聞いても明瞭な答えが返ってくることはなかった。何を言っても彼らが戻ってくることはなかった。今なら苦しむことはない。
The time had come to put an end to this, or rather to put her out of her misery, to let her rest.
でもも何もないわ。ラジエル？
Raziel approached Kudo as she still lay on the ground unconscious. The angel placed her palm upon the girl's forehead and called out in a melodic tone.
Abdiel? Abdiel? いるんでしょ?
Kudo's left eye shot open, eliciting panicked reactions from all of us save for Raziel, who lifted a hand to calm us. The young girl remained on the ground, feeling no need to stand. Her lips, the left side of them in any case, curled into a smile.
久しいな、ラジエル。
Her voice flowed forth like a lullaby, something soothing my strained nerves.
本当に久しい。長い時間が経った。
Abdiel appeared to still be present within Kudo Miyako's body.
こんな状態で申し訳ない。私の守護していた人間が迷惑をかけた。
ちょっと待って、アブディエルよね。生きているの？
The angel responded in an unconcerned tone.
私は他の天使や悪魔とも違う。私も、そして彼女、クロウ・ミヤコも拒絶をレゾンデートルとした存在だ。
God damn it. Abdiel smiled, then this time he looked at me.
だから、大して苦戦などしなかっただろ。
Her words left me shocked. It was a tough battle, actually, the kind where one wrong move could have easily spelled my doom. Truth be told, I only won by a hair's breadth. If Kudo had been at full strength, she would no doubt killed me with the very first gravitational wave. Abdiel flashed a knowing smile.
さて、いくつか伝えたいことがある。我々が壊れる理由についてだ。
何か分かったの？
Abdiel nodded.
天国に憧れるな。
What the fuck?
憧れるの？
どういうことだ？
でも私たちは天国の扉を開くために巡礼しているんでしょ？
言葉通りだ。天国は楽園ではない。ただ単に天上の存在が住む場所というだけだ。人間たちが天国への憧れが強ければ強いほど生き
The easier it will become for them to succumb to it, to insanity.
ラジエル、お前も分かっているだろう。だからあまり天国には戻らずに地上をさまよい続けた。
So the more successful we are, the likelier we are to also fail.
そうかもしれない。
Shit. Fuck. Not good. Raziel bit her lips while averting her gaze from Kuro.
それからもう一つ。東京バベルに集った悪魔と天使は実は一枚岩ではない。
Well, that much we could tell. Sotomi found herself at a loss for words. Her surprise was only natural, for what angel or demon would waste their breath on petty struggles when the world itself was in danger? Without a solution, the whole world, angels, demons, and mortals along with it, would succumb to ruination. Only fools would busy themselves with scheming in a situation this severe.
ただの権力闘争というわけではない。確実に何か後ろ暗いことを企んでいる奴がいる。
それは誰？
Following a brief moment of hesitation, Abdiel went on.
アスタロトだ。
Of course.
あの悪魔は全員の統一意志とは全く異なる意図を抱いている。
彼、私たちの指導者的な立ち位置なんだけど。
ならば彼は全ての悪魔と天使と人間を庇護しなければならない義務でもあるのか？
それは
分かった。調べてみる。
A hint of relief washed over Abdiel's features upon hearing Raziel's words. He wearily shook his head, forcing a weak smile.
ラジエル、君は私と共に来てくれると思っていたのだが。
それを言われると弱い。
Abdiel in his love for man rebelled against God and Lucifer alike. Raziel in her love for man granted them wisdom.
でも私は人を愛しただけ。天使を憎悪するまでには至らなかった。まして神をなんて。
ラジエル、あの時言った言葉は間違いだった。私はあの神がヤルダバオトと考えていたが、それは間違いだった。
どういうこと？
Abdiel continued on with a smile.
私が憎んでいるのは正真正銘本物の神だ。
The words must have come as a tremendous shock to both Lilith and Raziel. The two simply glared at Abdiel, unable to say a word. Sotomi and I merely looked at each other, exchanging a thoughtful look.
アブディエルさん、どうして神を憎んでいるんですか？
With Lilith and Raziel having fallen into a deep silence, Sotomi stepped up to speak in their stead, leveling a question at Abdiel.
私は昔こう考えていた。神がなさることに間違いはないのだろう。過ちは悪魔や堕天使がやってのけたのだろう。だがそれではどうしても理屈が通じない。
How could then a trifling little demon fool the almighty and omnipotent God? Would God intentionally turn the other way every time the demons hatched a scheme?
次にこう考えた。ならばあの神は偽物なのだろうと。あの神は偽物でどこかに本物の神がいるのだろうと。
No, never. Nonsense. I refuse to accept that. How could I? God is the absolute being. But then where does God truly dwell?
そして悟った。そんな都合のいい神は存在しない。神は絶対ではなく 万能でもない。強大な力を持ち、あまたの世界を創造することすらできるが。
Abdiel's smile broadened.
ただそれだけだ。根本的な部分では天使や悪魔、あるいは人間と同レベルの存在でしかない。
まさか。
Raziel shook her head in protest, yet failed to offer a counter-argument.
気をつけろ。結局私もわからなかったが、この震災にはそれなりの理由があるはずだ。
理由？
それはおそらく理不尽な理由だろう。非論理的ですらあるかもしれない。例え
そんな理由で？
Color had faded from Lilith's cheeks.
リリス、お前もうっすらと感づいていたようだな。それで
アブディエル、一つだけいいだろうか。
なんだ？
九郎都はどうして壊れた？
彼女は強かった。迫害されてもなお諦めることを知らないタフな少女だった。だが私は彼女の願いに従って馬を与えた。
アブド。
巡礼を行うということはその馬と別れるということ。どんな存在にも別れは辛いものだが、彼女にとっては特にそうだった。そう、彼女の幸福は馬と共にあることだったのだ。
見誤ったということか。
そうだ、見誤った。何もかもを見誤った。これは私の罪だ。九郎都の罪ではない。許してくれ。許してくれ。
Abdiel closed his eyes.
死んだ私はどこへ向かうのだろうな。天国も地獄も、まして煉獄も断りたい。ならばやはり虚無なのだろう。
And with that, Abdiel was no more. Moments later, Kuro Miyako's consciousness appeared to have returned. She cried out, her entire body trembling. Her cries amplified to an ear-piercing scream, the girl who rejected the world calling out to the sole being she accepted as a friend. Sotomi extended a hand, but I gestured to stop her. She cast a sorrowful look my way as I shook my head. There was nothing else to do, nothing else we could do, other than kill her.
でもねえ、せめて救いはないの？
救いなんてないわ。ああ、でも
Lilith placed a hand on Sotomi's head, her fingertips lighting up with a spark for a split second.
ごめん、ちょっと記憶を見せてもらったわ。九郎都の馬はこれね。
Lilith snapped her fingers. Seconds later, Kuro's expression turned to one of exalted joy as the sound of hooves had reached her ears. Truth is the daughter of time. Deception is the daughter of darkness. Lilith's raison d'être. The illusions she conjured up rivaled the real thing. You could touch them, feel them, even smell them. Kuro unsteadily rose to her feet and approached Ab, tears welling up in her eyes. We silently drew farther away from her. Lilith lightly tapped me on the arm, giving me a meaningful look. The moment Kuro would embrace the horse, I was to end her life. I nodded. Dying in her happiest moment would be a kinder fate than drowning in tears and despair. Understanding that train of reasoning, I opted to do as she told me. She staggered towards the horse, leaving behind a trail of blood, and after much struggle, she finally reached the animal and was about to embrace it, when I felt an overwhelming density of bloodlust in the vicinity.
Sotomi!
I pulled Raziel close to myself while sheltering a thoroughly confused Sotomi. There was very little I could ultimately do, but out of the meager amount of options given in the situation, I managed to pick the most optimal one.
What?
Do you guys want to
Is that
stop
the
here?
monster?
Leave it at the cliffhanger for the next time.
Mapo? I would like to hear the guy.
If you guys wish to.
I need to go eat dinner. I'm really hungry. It's like an hour past my dinner time. So we can stop here. We can also come back later if you guys are still awake for that. This was great. I really enjoyed the progress that we've made so far. The whole Akihabara arc was very fun, really dark, like a very big change of mood from what we were doing before with the comedy stuff.
I think it was pretty heavy.
It was pretty heavy, yeah.
Yeah.
Kudo
Pat and everything else, she just reject. She literally broke.
Right.
Yeah.
In Abdiel's kind of sad conclusion that God isn't really God, that nothing like truly absolute or good exists out there. That's fucking dark, man. Man just gave up on everything.
It is the man who lost the faith.
Right.
And Angel lost faith. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's so fucked.
It's terrible. I have no clue who this might be, though. I deeply doubt that this is Kuro Miyako's doing, especially with Abdiel gone. So we must have been invaded by someone else. Maybe this is Adam, actually.
Adam?
Just because the monster is white.
Just because the monster is white, true. You know, I see a white man, I see a white monster.
Just because the monster is white. Yeah. Okay.
Okay. Red chains. Does that ring a bell?
Don't know. Not immediately.
This picture doesn't remember you anything?
No.
Big white muscular chained.
Oh, you mean
furry.
Kratos?
Is that?
It doesn't remember anyone specific.
It doesn't remind me of anyone. True.
Just say the truth. I'm still processing the whole thing with the video and Kuro.
Yeah, that was heavy. That was heavy stuff.
Oh, and there was Setuna that could activate the glitter of the sword.
Right.
I don't know how he did.
And then there was also that memory of Setsuna's. I wonder if that was his mom or if that was his girlfriend or something from back in the day.
Maybe his creator, his savior.
Maybe. I mean, it had to be someone important enough that losing her was the sign that he needed to repress the memory, because he doesn't even remember who she was. The memory only comes out at this desperate moment. So it must have been really important to him at the time. Something that defined him, maybe.
Yeah.
I am intrigued about Tokyo Babel. Fuck! I want to see how it ends.
I want to see it too. I'm intrigued about a lot of things right here.
Yeah.
There's Setuna, there's Sarmi.
I've heard.
There is now Eren.
Right.
Eren is moving behind the shadows. There is Eve and Samuel.
Right.
I can't forget about this too. Oh, there is one thing I want to say.
Yeah.
I thought it was kind of flutter when I saw Setsuno pulling off the gluttony, but it kind of reminds me with the theory we were discussing about adaptability. I can't say this word. Adaptability. This would be the power of the universe.
Right.
So maybe Setsuno could use another raise on the tree. Maybe he could be like a copy machine.
Right. Kind of like Mega Man. Kind of taking the powers of the enemies he's felled. I could see that happening, definitely. I wonder how we're going to be moving forwards for this. I don't know. I'm intrigued, definitely. I've heard from the guy that I know that's played this game before that the bad ending of the Raziel route is fucking crazy. I don't know if we're gonna come across the bad ending on our first time around, but I have heard that it's fucking crazy. So I think maybe we should. I don't know.
I think we should do both, the good and the bad.
We should probably do it, yeah.
Yeah, just to see it.
But with this, I mean, if nobody else has anything to say, I'm gonna leave the explanations also for next time. Maybe if you guys are still awake later, we can move on to the end of the scene. But I really need to go eat dinner because I'm really hungry. So
Okay, no problem.
see you guys later, I guess.
Okay.